Relogic recently announced that the next major update, version 1.4.5, will be releasing within the next 2 months, which is gonna be great. However, the current version, 1.4.4, has a ton of super useful and fun glitches that will most likely be getting patched in the next update. So, while we're still waiting for the update to actually drop, I thought it would be the perfect time to go over all of the working glitches in 1.4.4. Before we jump into all the glitches, I know that odds are you're only here for 1 or 2 specific types of glitches. So, to make things easier on you guys, I broke the video up into various sections, which I have the timestamps for on screen now. Let's start this video out with some glitches that'll make things like boss fights easier, starting with one that can help you auto-win boss fights without ever even having the boss actually spawn in, which is called projectile maxing. Terraria has max limits for objects in the game, like mobs, and more importantly, projectiles, which have a max of 1,000. Meaning, if you reach that max limit somehow, bosses wouldn't be able to spawn in projectile attacks, making certain fights much easier, like the Empress of Light. You have 2 somewhat easy ways to hit this limit, with the first being to shoot out 1,000 flares, or you can throw out 1,000 beach balls. Regardless of which one you choose for this, they will eventually start to despawn after a bit. So, make sure you have a plan to follow as soon as you reach the max projectile limit. That way, you can have the most amount of time possible going after your goal. Projectile maxing isn't the only way to get things to stop spawning in though, as we also have mob maxing. Just like projectiles, Terraria has a max limit of 200 mobs at one time. And if you hit that, nothing else will be able to spawn in, meaning you can auto-win certain boss fights, make others extremely easy, and more. Normally, statues have a spawn limit of 3 mobs at one time, but if you were to use a penguin, goldfish, or bunny statue during a blood moon, then you can skip this 3 at a time limit and quickly reach the max amount of mobs spawned in at one time. Once you hit the limit, you will most likely need to kill one of them, so that way you can spawn in other mobs like bosses. So, I usually make a setup with a small 1-block hole that allows me to shoot inside of it, but it blocks the mobs from getting out. The next glitch is only for Queen Bee and requires a chest statue that may be hard to find at the time you need to fight Queen Bee. Queen Bee and Mimic's AI are the only 2 in the game that can attack each other, and when Mimics do end up attacking Queen Bee, they're able to beat her within a few seconds. So, if you make a little setup that has a chest statue with a timer, turn it on, you can easily farm Queen Bee, as the Mimics will take out large chunks of her health each time she flies through them. This technically isn't a glitch, most likely just an oversight, as the mob's AI are working correctly, but I don't think it was intended to exactly happen either, so I felt like it was worth putting into this video. Now, for the final quality of life glitch, before we get into the duplication ones, we have one that gives you God mode, but there's 2 major drawbacks with it. This glitch has to do with these 2 chests, which aren't normal chests like you might think. When you hover your mouse over either of them, your character will freeze in place, even if that's in the air. And it will also have its wing come out, while it loses all of its vanity pieces. When you're in this weird state, almost all physical attacks can't hurt you, but projectiles and some one-off attacks can, like Queen Slime's Slam. This is pretty great on its own, but if we pair it with the projectile limit glitch I covered earlier in this video, then we can almost eliminate every attack that can hurt us while using the God mode chest. So, you can easily get, essentially, full-on God mode in this, but you aren't able to move at all in it, including attacking. Summoner minions and other things get cleared when you get onto the God mode chest, so that really only leaves a few options. You can use some accessories that damage enemies for you, like the Spore Sack. You can use one of the 2 slime mounts, or if you want to basically insta-kill anything in the game, then you get onto the God mode chest while doing the speed glitch. If you equip an item that allows you to see your speed and get on the God Mode chest, you will notice that your speed starts to rapidly go up, even though you're frozen in place. We can abuse this by using the B mount, which increases your speed, and a Jousting Lance, which has its damage decided by how fast you're going. So, if you get on your B mount, click to bring out your Jousting Lance, and then get onto the God Mode chest, your speed will start increasing to a point where almost everything that runs into you will instantly die, including bosses. Now, you probably noticed that I haven't told you how to get these chests for yourself, which isn't just because I forgot to add it in during my original recording, but also because they technically are unobtainable items. Most of the time at least, as the transmutation glitch, which I cover at this timestamp, currently allows you to easily get them using the following doors I have on screen now. However, it's already been said by Relogic that the transmutation glitch will be patched in the upcoming 1.4.5 update, so these will most likely go back to being fully unobtainable, unless you cheat them in. Now that we've got all the quality of life glitches out of the way, let's move on to the ones that you're probably looking forward to the most, which are the ones that allow you to get any amount of any item you want. Starting off small, we have two money glitches, but they're both easy to do and extremely profitable. To do the first one, you first need to make the setup I have on screen now, where there's a block, a gap, a platform that's hammered once, and finally, one more block. Once you have that setup made, you can then place either crystal shards or Christmas lights in the gap, which will just duplicate it instead of actually placing it. So, if you hold down the button to place it, then it will rapidly start duplicating them, which you can go sell afterwards. And while that money glitch works just fine, there's one more money glitch that's a little slower, but will get you a lot more money. For this, you will first need to start your world in multiplayer, place two teleporters on top of each other, then place an altar on the top teleporter, and finally break the bottom teleporter. This will glitch out the altar we placed on top, and now, when we try to turn the altar on, it will duplicate it for us instead. Moving on to a general duplication glitch that'll allow you to dupe any item, we have the chest saving glitch. This will allow you to duplicate any item you want by messing with the save feature in Terraria. Before we get into this one though, you do need to know that it can corrupt your world and/or player file. So it's best to either just duplicate your world file, or if that's not an option, make a new world and player to do this glitch on. Now that that's out of the way, the first thing you'll want to do is make sure you turn off autosave, then find a chest. Place the items you want to duplicate in the chest, and then exit and save out of the world. After you're back to the main menu, go back into your world. Take out the items you put into your chest. Go to exit and save again, but this time, in the middle of its saving, completely close out of the Terraria program. Now, when you load it back up and go into your world again, you should have the items in your inventory, alongside the chests still having them as well. The next duplication glitch is actually the only glitch in this video that will only work on TModLoader, but regardless of that, it's still extremely useful. Kind of like the teleport money glitch, you will want to place down two teleporters on top of each other, then an item frame on top, and finally break the bottom teleporter. This will end up breaking the other teleporter as well, but it will leave the item frame floating. Now, if you put an item in the item frame, it will break, and it will duplicate the item you put in there in a super interesting way. Instead of it just giving you back two of your item, like you're most likely expecting, it actually duplicates the stack of that item in your inventory. So, if you have 100 life crystals and put one of them in the glitched item frame, you will end up getting 100 life crystals back. Being able to duplicate items is extremely handy, but being able to just get any item out of thin air is better, including unobtainable ones. And luckily, there happens to be two of those glitches currently working, starting with the achievement crafting glitch. This glitch will let you get any craftable item in the game, as long as you have at least one of its crafting materials. Let's say we wanted to get a zenith, which works out great as you spawn in with one of its crafting materials, the copper short sword. The first thing you'll want to do is find an achievement you can get exactly when you want to, like the life crystal or chopping down a tree. And then get the guide to be in talking distance when you're getting the achievement. Once you figured that out, open the guide's crafting menu, put in the crafting material of the item you want, scroll in the guide's crafting section until you find the item you want. Do something to save that location on screen, like putting your finger on it, and then get the achievement, which in our case is just chopping down a tree. As soon as you see the achievement notification pop up, click it. Now for the final step, you're going to want to spam click where the item you want is on screen as you back out of the achievements menu, which is why I said to save the location of the item somehow. If you do it correctly, you will get the item as if you just crafted it right as the menu closes, and then you can put it in your inventory. And while that crafting glitch is super handy, it clearly has some drawbacks, like you only being able to do it a few times before you don't have any more usable achievement. Luckily though, the transmutation glitch doesn't have any drawbacks outside of losing a door. This glitch, in simple terms, glitches out sprites, and due to how sprites are set up in the code, you can change the glitch sprite into almost any item. While I'll just be covering the item side of things in this video, you are also able to do things like make an instant elevator, and a few other insane things with this glitch. But I'll leave that to Ethyriel, who I'll have linked below, as that's who put in all of the work to discover how this glitch works, and then also made it extremely easy for us to all use. For the item setup, you will first want to start your game in multiplayer, and then get the following items, all of which can be done early in the game with enough exploring. Once you have everything, make the following setup I have on screen now. After that, replace the following 2 blocks that I do with sand using the block swap feature, which works by holding a block and then trying to place it where another block is. And then break the bast statues, which will cause the sand to fall. Now, you'll want to place 2 bast statues on top of the floating sand, and prepare yourself to be quick on the step. This is when you'll have to place a torch on the floating blocks, under the floating sand, which has to be quickly followed by you placing sandstone on the top piece of sand. And finally, you have to break those blocks in the order that I do. At this point, you'll want to add a couple blocks where I do, so you can add a door here, and then finally save and exit out of your world, and your setup will technically be complete. Now you can head into single player and start adding controls to your setup, so you can start spawning random items into existence. Firstly, you'll want to take some wire and run it along the top of your setup that's connected to a pressure plate above your door. Now you can start jumping, and each time you open or close the door, it will start shifting to new items. Once it's on the item you want, all you have to do is break the block under the door to get it. And then, when you want to use the glitch again, you can just put a new door back in there, instead of having to remake the whole setup again. While it would take me way longer to cover a full guide on how to find any item you want in a video, there's luckily a handy spreadsheet made by Icy Snowman that does exactly this, which I'll have linked below. Before we end the video, I want to go over some mobile glitches, as the creator Moo has been hard at work finding a ton of them. However, I don't have a good setup to record mobile gameplay, and Moo also deserves a lot more recognition for their amazing setups. So, if you're interested in mobile-only glitches, I'll have their channel linked below in the description. And that wraps up this video. Thanks for sticking to the end. Be sure to like and subscribe for more Terraria videos like this in the future. And, as always, make sure to have a wonderful day.